upcoming.
Now, this is the AWS, so we'll be covering AWS today, working with AWS. So our focus will be on how you can use AWS and why is it important. AWS is majorly a cloud-based service where you can do a lot of things in terms of data transformation. I'll focus on the data transformation aspect now because you can do a lot of things. You can do machine learning, you can do cybersecurity work, do some other cybersecurity application, you can do web hosting and the rest. So, but my focus will be on data transformation, because that's what this class is all about. So AWS, if you see Amazon Web Services, when you click on that, you can now register. You have different services there that you can explore. Like if you have your business, you want to host website, you can do all sorts of things there. And for data side, you could also take advantage of some application there, and that we have analytics application. You can see all of them. Athena SQL to query. You know, everything that you've been doing about SQL that Onkuyinka has covered, you can do everything inside this Amazon Athena. Can you see? You can query data in S3 bucket with SQL. I'll be explaining all this, but I just want to give you insights of what you should be expecting when it comes to cloud environment, how it works. So, okay, I click on, can you see we have analytics, we have machine learning, database, web application, cloud security, like cybersecurity, networking, serverless application, compute, containers, like I've forgotten this, containers, Kubernetes, and the rest. EC2, so storage. If you want to, like all this cloud storage, just like Google Drive, you have it. DevOps work, web app, artificial intelligence, which is actually now in vogue. So you can do a lot of things within AWS environment, but our focus will be on analytics. So for the analytics, let's go through what we have here. Say free data lakes and analytics on AWS. The fastest way to get answer from all your data, let's say, is a create account. So you can create accounts here. But before we do that, I just want us to go through few informations here. Business for business intelligence, it's simple and cost fair to run high performance queries petabytes of semi-structured. When you talk about petabytes, that is a very large amount of data beyond gigabytes. So cloud environment can handle those data, and that's why you need like Python, you need some other Spark with Python with Spark API and the rest. Data warehouse, you can do data warehouse. That's you run SQL query in Redshift. You can do it with Athena and the rest. Scalable data lakes. You can automate the whole process here. Ingesting data, capturing data, transforming the data, and getting output. Everything can be done in this environment. So before we continue, so let me show you a few other things. Like, for example, we have something called AWS Glue Serverless Data Integration. This is majorly used for ETL process. We can also use it for machine learning, but mostly I've used it for ETL only, for data transformation. And it's a very good service for when it comes to dealing with large amount of data set, that will help you to handle it. We have ETL process like a serverless application like AWS Glue. We have AWS Lambda. We have some other ones there. We have like a EMR. We have some other applications like that, but majorly in AWS environment, the most popular ones are AWS Glue for transforming large amount of the application for transforming large amount of data. AWS Lambda for transforming data. I would say large amount of data, but in terms of memory, that's the limitation to that. That's for the AWS Lambda. And yeah, so these are the things you can use. Quick site, Amazon quick site helps you to do, Power BI, just like Power BI, your business intelligence tool. So it
Recording in progress.
so can you mute yourself, please? Um, hello? Okay, thank you. Now, so we have Amazon Redshift for data warehouse. So it's everything related to SQL that you can use it within Amazon Redshift. You can use Python with Amazon Redshift also, but majorly SQL. So Amazon Redshift, everything you know about SQL is applicable in Amazon Redshift. S3 bucket is a storage. I'll be taking you through this. S3 bucket is where you store your data, just like our computer when you save it in a file. So, but you can save large amount of data in petabytes, in mega, in any kind of bytes. You can save it inside S3 buckets. So it's an object storage service that offers industry-leading scalability, data availability, and security and performance. So you see, 5 gigabyte of storage, get requests. You can do a lot of things with this. Then we have Amazon SageMaker. Amazon SageMaker is majorly used for machine learning and artificial intelligence. If you are doing predictive analysis, you can use the Amazon SageMaker to undo that. So if you are doing machine learning, you can use that one. Redshift, data warehouse, similar to your SQL. Can you see sample here? Can you see? You see you're loading data from a bucket? But all this can be done the same code that you have, but with just a little changes to how they are structured. But it's still the same SQL. You can use select all from line items. So you can do all this. Yes, so just to give you an overview of what Amazon is all about and what Amazon environment, using this environment, what it can offer you. This is not promotion. This is just introducing you to Amazon. So I'm not trying to promote any products, but we've got other cloud environments such as Azure environment, we have Google Cloud Platform, we have Alibaba, and some like that. We've got lots of them out there, but the most popular ones are AWS environment, Azure environment. GCP is also getting more popular. But I think the major clouds that are actually holding the market are Amazon, that's AWS, and the Azure environments. So you can do a lot of things there. The same thing that I've explained here, you can do it in Azure environment too. Azure portal. So we have Azure portal here with your Microsoft account. You can see details. Try Azure free. Can you see? You can do. Let me see if we have. So you can try it for free, $200 credits, and they will give you offer. What can you do there? Azure Cosmos DB. So this is a database. That's their own database name. Azure App Service storage. Can you see this is the storage environment, just like the S3 I showed you in Amazon. Azure Functions. Maybe this one could be something different. So you can try. Just please try and take advantage of all these Amazon Azure environments because everything is going to cloud now. If you are doing things on-prem, I will advise you to upskill yourself to start doing more things in cloud environments. Yeah, so that's any question? Any questions so far? Okay, so okay, I'll be doing something now. Okay, so let's start fully. So what is our learning outcome here? Our learning outcome is to um to understand how to create AWS accounts, to understand how to create S3 bucket. You remember I mentioned S3 bucket the other time. To understand how to upload file in AWS cloud. To get hands-on experience in extracting, loading, and transforming data. We might not be able to touch this particular part, but I will explain, I will show you the environment, I will show you how it's being configured. But I will refer you back to some videos that we've uploaded on YouTube. Take advantage of it. You have all the materials there. Yes, so now, so those are the things we'll be covering. Then S3 buckets. S3 is object-based. Let me see if I can log into my account. Before we continue this, let's see how to log into that account. I think last time I showed you to log into that account, just go to new to AWS, click on this, then use your email address, then put account name, then verify your email. So I'll send this link to you. You can try from your hand, or if you could also post it to a WhatsApp chat, that would be very, very good. So here, put your email, choose a name for your account, use the name, you know, verify the email. And after doing that, you should be able to, let me see if I can log in here, if I've not been, let me see, AWS account. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, I think I have the accounts here. So I think I have my account saved here. So yes, it said I should do MFA. So I've configured all this already. So we so I'll log into my account now. I've set the authentication on my app. You know, Microsoft authentication authenticator, I have it here. So I use that. So let me try. This is oh, I'm lucky, yeah. So that's my account. Can you see I've been charged 4.15 US dollar here. So the more you use the service, the more you'll be charged. But you have to delete some of the applications there. So this is the billing application environment. So now these are the services that I was trying to explain. Glue, S3 buckets, Lambda, I explained Lambda. We've got lots of them there. For example, just to mention few that I've actually worked with, I've worked with AWS Glue, I've worked with S3 Bucket, I've worked with CloudWatch, I've worked with Lambda Function, I've used AIMRO, I've worked with Event Bridge, CloudFormation, I've worked with CloudFormation, that's the DevOps. This is for DevOps. If you want to do um, um, deployment, you can use this. And it's also very good for you as a data engineer to learn this. So I've worked with Athena where you use SQL query. I've worked with which other products have I used? Let me see if I've got a few ones here. Okay, data lake formation. QuickSight, I've used QuickSight, I've used Redshift. I've partially used SageMaker because I didn't really uh I've not been I don't really work on machine learning, so I didn't really use the SageMaker. Kinesis, I've partially used Kinesis, but AWS Glue, um, which is very important. QuickSight, I've used QuickSight. Redshift, I've used Redshift. So this QuickSight is similar to um, Power BI that you are familiar with. So, you know, Click is a business intelligence tool. Power BI is a business intelligence tool. And QuickSight is also a business intelligence tool. proprietary to Amazon. That's for QuickSight. So like Power BI is Microsoft based, same QuickSight is Amazon based. So we have Click and we have other business intelligence tools like that.
Sorry, I'm just curious. Are we supposed to know all these things?
That's a very good question. Yes, I won't say you should know all, but I will advise you to get yourself familiar with how they work. It's not compulsory you know everything, you know, but it's okay if you could lay hands on one of them and use it very, very well. So that if you find yourself in a project, you can use it effectively, and maybe along the way in the project, you can start learning and you'll be developing yourself. Otherwise, apart from this, like I said, there's some other training we do, which is completely outside SOM data class. This is free. We have paid one, which is a separate one. So we mostly cover something advanced there, which is outside the scope of mentoring. Yeah, so that's it. But I will advise you just use one of the services, know how to use it very well. Especially if you can learn how to use where is it? This one is okay. This one is popular.
So
This one is popular.
what does that do for you? What does that do then? What does it do? Like what?
Yes. So for example, this is a Lambda, AWS Lambda. What it does is that the Python script that we've written, remember when we did transformation of data, we saying, oh, write this data using Google Colab, right? So all those can be done here with AWS Lambda. You can read data, and one good thing about AWS Lambda is that it's event driven. Event driven in the sense that when file enters a storage environment, which I will show you, this Lambda, because of the permission that we've granted to the Lambda, the Lambda will pick it up from there and read the data and send it to the output automatically, even when you're not there. So it's event driven. So you don't need to run it like run, manually. It will run by itself. So if you are expecting files to come any time of the day, when you use a Lambda function, AWS Lambda, it will help you because it's event driven. It will read that data anytime it comes. If it's midnight, even when you are sleeping, it will help you to do the transformation and provide a service for users.
Is it free? Nope.
There's no free service on the AWS account, but there's something about AWS. They give you free, what should I say? They give
Period.
you free, like free, we have a free account. So, but I will not advise you. I will advise you to use this service, but you have to be very careful. You have to ensure that immediately you use it, delete it, so that they won't charge you.
Okay, but so you can use an email account, and then once you finish your free period, you delete it and can sign on with another email. That's what you're saying?
No, not that way. I will explain. Okay, you know what? Let's get when we get there. I will explain. So if
Okay.
you see the billing, I show you billing the other time, right? Okay,
Yeah.
before we go to that, let's go back to the normal class. Then when we get there, I will explain better.
Okay.
Yeah. So because I don't want to go
You know,
outside.
people are feeling overwhelmed when you say listing everything that you know. Okay.
Which one? Sorry, really? I
I
didn't get.
think I think people are feeling overwhelmed when you say listing. I know this, I know that, I use this, I use that,
No, 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 no.
and
No, they
cognitive
shouldn't.
overload. Cognitive overload. Like, am I expected to learn all these things now? But I think, like, when you explain that we should focus on a very popular one that we should understand, it's just don't like overload us. Even good, it's good that we know that we need to know all these things, but maybe you can tell us this is what you should start with, and then with time, when you develop, you now start learning the other ones. So I think people are getting a bit overwhelmed with everything we need to know.
No, if you remember when I was saying I've used this, I only
Yeah.
said I've used, but I
Okay.
now mentioned along the way that
Yeah.
I will advise you
Mm.
to maybe learn one, and when you're on a project you can start developing on others, because it's not that you will know everything at once.
Okay.
Like me now, I'm not a starter, right? That
Yeah.
means I've been on a project, several projects, for me to know all this. So for a
Yeah.
starter, you have to start from somewhere, just like I did, and I started learning one after the other, some on projects, some doing like training outside. Does that make sense? That was what I was trying
Yeah.
to explain. So I wasn't trying to say, oh, you have to learn all this. No, I was trying to explain that these are the key products or application that are very, very important in the industry. And that was why I kept on mentioning this, this, so that in
Okay.
your own way, when you are sitting somewhere, somebody has given you clue on some of the application in AWS to focus on. I can
Okay.
I can come to class and say S3 and just leave, but I did not give you much information that I needed. So that
Mm-hmm.
was why I didn't say somebody should be overwhelmed. I just want you to know key applications that are very, very that invoke in the industry, so that even when
Okay.
you are learning one, you know what you have to do next. You know,
Okay.
my duty is mentoring. My duty is
Yeah.
to show you
The way.
the way exactly.
Mm.
So 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 that when you are after this class, you can go back. Oh, I've finished learning Lambda. I'm familiar with Lambda now. I can now say, oh, I think mentor mentioned something about EMR. Let me go and learn EMR. Oh, this will be very good. Oh, because he has got experience in this sector, he knows more about products that are more popular, some that will
Mm-hmm.
actually guarantee jobs. I don't know
Okay.
if I'm making, you see what I'm saying now?
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. That was why I kept on mentioning those ones. There are a lot of them, but I won't say, oh, go and focus, go and be reading everything. But um most part I think will be very useful to you are
Mm.
Lambda, Blue,
Okay.
S3,
Mm.
CloudWatch, Event Bridge, Athena, CloudFormation. This one, don't focus on this, and few other ones that I've mentioned. So that was why I mentioned those. Because
Okay.
if I give you an example now, let me say AWS Glue job. You see what I'm saying? And I have my
Mhm.
reason for saying that Glue job UK.
Okay. UK.
Yeah. Let's see what's going to happen. So for you to understand that I'm giving you high overview of what will
It's up.
guarantee job
Yep.
for you. Let's see if we have anything here. AWS Glue. Let's see AWS Glue Lambda. Okay, okay. So AWS Glue, what do we have here? What did they ask? Is it different from what I just mentioned?
Nope.
Glue,
Architect
Lambda,
build scalable, secure, maintainable data
S3,
pipeline.
Redshift.
Wow.
Did you see? That was why I was trying to emphasize on that.
This is very
Focus.
juicy, juicy, juicy.
Did you see what I'm saying now? So I didn't just show you those things. I intentionally showed you so that you know that if you are able to learn all these, you
Yeah.
are guaranteed job.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm making sense now. So
And you are making sense, so very much. Wow.
yeah. So that was why I emphasized on focus on this, 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 because I know how the
Mm-hmm.
market works and what you have to focus on. Did you see that now? So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And even jobs all over the country.
all
You
over
know,
the country.
all over the country.
If you search data engineering job, you will see
Yeah.
more of that. Um, let's say UK data engineering job UK. Let's check this. let's check the Twitter jobs. Data engineer. No, this is not data engineer. This is data center, which is different. Data engineering job. You will see some of them, which we're not going to cover. This price pack. We normally cover price cap, but we have the video. Let's check one of them. Let's see what we have there.
DWP even. Wow.
You see, okay, they talk about, we've covered Python, we've covered SQL.
This Department of Works and Pension.
Yeah, this is Department of Works and Pension. So
Yeah.
they're recruiting. If you can try,
But it's,
take.
but it's not but the money is not too encouraging.
Yeah, that's true.
The
Yeah,
money is is that an entry role?
it looks like an entry role. Yes, that's true.
I
So
thought it's just because government jobs, they don't really pay well, but they got a lot of benefit.
exactly. Thank you.
Okay.
So you see, let's say AWS. Let me use AWS data engineer because we are talking about AWS now. So let's say AWS data engineer
Yeah.
job. Now, let's see what we have here. Store, civil library. The civil library. Okay. So if you go here, AWS data engineer, see what they're asking. You see it's still in line with what I just mentioned. Some of them, you see, Glue, S3, AWS Lambda, quick sites dimension, learning Python and SQL. You already know this. So you see, so that is how the market works. So you just need
We are
to
not seeing
know.
it, sir.
Oh, you cannot see it?
Check your system.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Check your system. Everybody's seeing it.
Okay, it's okay now. Thank you.
Did you see that?
Okay, it's
So
okay, sir.
all those things I've
Yeah,
mentioned, yeah. So along the way, you can start developing yourself in this, which is more of your, when you are a data engineer, you need to understand CI/CD pipeline, GitLab. You need to understand some deployments, which is more DevOps work. Unstructured
Okay.
data, you're already familiar with this. Structured and unstructured data, that we cover it in Python. We grabbed some data, we tried to filter them out, we generated an output, all those stuff. We've covered that. Infrastructure as a code. So all this, we've covered a lot in SOM. So much, but you might not know. So, but I will advise you, like I said, focus on all those tools. AWS, Lambda. If you are focusing on data engineering in AWS environment, Lambda, Glue, S3 buckets. We're covering S3 buckets here. I will explain S3 bucket. Then I will send a link to you on YouTube to watch some video on Glue, how to use it. So now let's start. Let me introduce you to S3 buckets. So I've shown you how to log into that environment. This is S3 bucket. S3 bucket is a storage. Oh, I've got loads of work here. Yeah, so S3 buckets is a storage where you can store your data. You can store your data there. And let's say, for example, I want to create a bucket. A bucket is unique. It's only unique to you, the name of the bucket. So from here, where S3 bucket is objects based, object consists of the following: the key and the value. The key, the name of the objects. What's the name of the object? In this case, let's go back here. The name of our object is, if I want to create this bucket now, do create bucket, and I will give its name. I think Constant, your name is Constance, right? Constance. Please
Yes.
correct me if I'm wrong. Constance bucket. Let's say Constance dash bucket. Let's see if it's available. So I want to create Constance bucket. This Constance bucket is unique universally. It's universally unique. So if I name this bucket Constance bucket, nobody can use this name anymore anywhere in the world. And that's how AWS, how powerful it is. Now I can set up this account. Let's go through here before I do that. So this is the key, the name of the object. And what's the name of the object here? Constance buckets. That is the name of the object, Constance buckets. Constance buckets. Now, let's go on. This is simply the data and is made up of the sequence of bytes. That's the objects. So let me create this bucket now. Before I create it, let's go through this because there's some information I have to take you through here. So this is simply the name of the object. This is simply the data that's the value. This is simply the data and is made up of a sequence of bytes. Now, how do you create S3 bucket? I say sign into AWS Management Console and open Amazon, which we did. I already have accounts, and so you have to sign into AWS environment and then choose S3 bucket, which I did. I went here, I chose S3 buckets, and after that, under the service, choose S3. We can go back so that you can see the steps. Let me go back. This, choose S3 buckets. Can you see? And this is the S3 bucket. Now, the next step is under the service S3 bucket, which I've shown. And if you go and say create bucket, in the bucket name, enter bucket name you want. You cannot change the name of the bucket after it's been created, but name is unique globally. I just mentioned that. The name is unique globally. And there is another thing you need to take note. You have to select the region that you want your bucket to be located, the region. I will show you that while setting up the constant bucket. So you have to set up the region. The essence of the region is that, let's say, for example, we're in London now. You can choose London region. London region means wherever bucket you're creating or wherever data you are files you are saving inside that bucket, it will be located in Amazon server in London. Amazon server in London. So if we choose another region, let's say you're choosing maybe part of Europe, which I will show you, it will be saved in another part of Europe. If you choose US, it will be saved in US. If you choose South African, it will be saved in South African. But I don't think we have one in Nigeria now. So we only have one in South Africa. If you choose, but I'll show you the options there. Now you see, create buckets. Here, the other time I filled constant bucket. AWS region, EU West 2. And EU West 2 is what? A London region. When you see EU West 2 is what? London region. Then I say, choose block. I unblock this one because when you block this, you can block, it depends, and grants identity access management role to the account. So for people that you want to allow to have access to this bucket, excuse me. So you can turn it a block or public access because it's for safety and security. It's rather preferable to block all public access. Otherwise, somebody can browse your link and check whatever you have inside your bucket, which is not good. And it will cause vulnerability of the application. So create buckets. I said bucket versioning disabled. Then I say default encryption disabled. I just decide to disable that from the screen and say create bucket. So we'll be doing that now. Yeah, that's it. So let's follow that step. Create buckets, constants buckets, constants buckets. If you have your account, please you can follow the steps. So I'm gonna do block or public. I'll remove that one just for the sake of the class.
Sir,
Then
just one
hello.
question. I was
Okay.
gonna ask, when you're doing this, does it necessarily have to be a GUI, or can it be on a different interface?
Sorry, I didn't get that question. Please, can you
Can
explain?
can you use like coding to set this
Oh,
up?
of course, you can do that. But the coding aspect you're talking about is beyond SOM class. That's why I said we have advanced class. You remember I was talking
Okay.
about advanced class. For you want to use coding, like you want to deal with some other applications outside SOM, is a separate class and is a paid one. We don't cover, but because you are all starting from scratch, and people are just learning, you have to know the basics. You have to understand how it works before you can go advance.
So let's say if someone get if I get a job now,
Yeah.
they would not just expect me to be using a different interface.
No, they don't. If you get a job and you're working as a data engineer where you have to deploy something to the cloud, you are not expected to create all this manually. You're
Okay.
expected to push it from use IDE and use your repository, build CI/CD pipeline and the rest. But that is outside the scope of this class. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yes, you're welcome. So, but for the sake of this class and people are just starting, you can't just bring something advanced and just dump it like Constant said the other time when I was mentioning you use this, see, you understand. Imagine I start introducing you to all those advanced ones, you run away. You understand? But we don't need to go to that level now until you understand how 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 all this works in AWS environment, how you can create S3 buckets. Just learn it, watch some videos about it, and that will give you clue on how to start using it. Yeah, okay. So let's continue. So for the CLI one is advanced class. So if you want to go for advanced class, which is highly advanced, you can maybe get in touch with Uncle Yinka, or you can get in touch with me. But that one is a separate class entirely. Now, so we have this now. So I've blocked all public access. I've taken that off for the purpose of this class. Bucket versioning, disable, and encryption. So bucket key. Okay, so if I 1 second, this is blocking my screen. Okay, this is blocking my screen. So now I can create this bucket now. But before I create the bucket, you remember we talked about AWS2 or availability zone. Let's see what we have here. Oh, it's saying the region is this. US, North Virginia, right? So, but we're in London. So why can't we choose London and switch? So can you see? It's been changed, right? So in this case, you just say it's changing automatically. It's not giving us option to hide it at the bottom. Maybe they've modified what we have there. So constants, I will give constants again. Constants pockets. So block our public access. Yeah, knowledge. I can create these pockets. Oh, okay. It's saying something is wrong. The name is already taken. Can you see someone has used that name? Constance buckets. So that means let me use constant buckets. Okay, Constance SOM buckets. Let's see what we have here. Good. Now the bucket is created. So if we go to the bucket, let's say Constance SOM bucket. The bucket is created now. And the region of the bucket is what? EUS2, and that's it. So we have this bucket created now. We can load data under this bucket, and that's the idea. The reason why we have S3 bucket is for storage. You want to store something there. It's for storage, just like your drive. But in this case, it's beyond drive. Drive has a limitation. S3 bucket does not have limitation to what kind of file you want, the size of file you have to upload. You can upload petabyte of data, terabyte of data, gigabyte of data, as many data as possible. So you can upload the file. So let me see if I can see any example file here. So for me to load file, okay, UK data duplicates, UK data duplicate. I want to save this under my desktop. So okay, desktop, UK data duplicate. So I want to upload this file now, UK data duplicates. So upload, can you see? Before we continue, let's go back to this material. Upload an object to your bucket. So the file we want to upload is what? An object. Choose the name of the bucket you want to upload to. On the object tab for your bucket, choose upload. Under file or folder, choose add files. Choose file to upload and then choose open. Then choose upload. Let's see it. Now upload first, or you can use this upload, either this or this. Let me use this one, upload. Remember, I've selected the bucket. I want to use Constance SOM bucket. Then I can do add file or what? Folder. Add file. In my own case, I want to add from my desktop, pick from desktop, open. Now I've uploaded the file now. And I can do upload. So I've uploaded the file. Is that clear?
Hello.
Hello, is that clear?
Yes, it's clear, but is this not a manual uploading?
Okay. I didn't get your question. How do you want us to upload it?
So this is a manual uploading, isn't it? Definitely. But it's possible to do it, automate this kind of uploading.
Oh, exactly. It's possible. That's the okay. Okay. It's possible to upload it through some you use web app upload. Maybe you are ingesting data from, because in an organization, sometimes you don't want everybody to have access to your cloud environment for security reason, right? Maybe you have some users somewhere sitting there, they want to use your service. You have to create like a barrier between your cloud environments and the files they want to upload and the user. So for security reason. So in that case, you might actually create like a separate interface that will interact with the AWS environment. Then whenever they upload the file, maybe through a website or wherever, then the file will be ingested into this environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and in some situation, you could have data coming from a database. Whenever they upload file to database, there's a Python script that will automate it and grab data from that environment and push it to S3 bucket. It depends on the organization you find yourself, what they want to do. And as a data engineer, or I would say it's not actually your responsibility to determine how they want to do it, but it's the responsibility of a solution architect or a data architect. Does that make sense? There's a difference between a data engineer and a data architect. You can work as a data engineer and become a data architect because you understand how the process works, how to build the data pipeline, how do you want the file to be ingested, understanding the efficiency of the application, what about the performance, what is the cost to the organization, and that is the work of a solution architect. I would say a solution architect or data architects. So your responsibility is just to develop the pipeline, see how those files will come to the environment. Does that make sense? So in terms of automation, you understand what is the security implication of if a user have access to this environment. What if some of the users, they've exposed their system to a virus? Does that make sense? If they've exposed their system to a virus and they upload file, what if those files are infected? What is the implication on the security of the service that we're using? So we want to make sure we prevent that. We want to make sure that we put a barrier between how they are uploading file, how it's going to be transformed, and how it's going to be moved to the S3 environment. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So now we have the file sitting here. So this is the object. And this object we can query just like your S3 bucket, SQL. You can check basic SQL query here. You can click on here, query S3 bucket, and it will generate. So what do you want to do? Format CSV delimiter, compression, this, and I can run this SQL query. So can you see the data here? So you can see the data after running this. I can remove the limits of this. Select all from S3 objects. This I can remove the limits and it will still work. Can you see all the data that we have there? Formatted. Can you see in this format? So if I put limit 5, limit 2, and I run this SQL, I can see the limit, right? I can see the data, only 2 lines, right? Does that make sense? And we can download the results. So you can run basic SQL using in this S3 environments. You can do all sorts of things like 1 second. Let's go back to the file. We have the file here. Click on here, action. You can move the data. You can copy the data, calculate total size of the data. Can you see? This is the total size of the data. This is actually very important when it comes to quality check of data. You'll be doing that as a data engineer, calculating total size of the data. Of the reason why you need to do that is that you're thinking ahead. What is the implication of having a very large amount of data set in this environment, and what kind of transformation process we have to put in place to transform this data? Should we just use pandas for transformation to deal with unstructured data if it's a certain structure? Or should we go for AWS Lambda environment? Like I said, that was I said, you have some other works that are not being handled by majorly data engineer, but they're handled by a data architect, but majorly solution architects. So they make sure they put this in place before knowing what other application you have to use. So can you see that I've shown you that? Click on this again, do this. You can rename your bucket objects. You can rename this file here. Here, you can rename it, change the name. If I want to do copy, I can change it. Can you see it's been updated? I can click on this, download the file, copy this URL environments. This is very important also, especially when you are reading data. You can copy this, and if I click on my notepad, I can see the folder part. I can read this data and use panda.read this folder part and read the data directly. So now, I've shown you that you can move this data to another bucket. You can download. I've shown you that also. Query, that query is very important. So yeah, so that's that. Check the properties. You have permission. Some of the things that we configured, you see them here. Permission, metrics, management. See a few other informations here. Life cycle rules. Life cycle rules means you might set up a life cycle for that S3 bucket that if you upload file and the file is beyond 1 year, it should take it off from that environment or delete it. Can you see? Use lifecycle to define action you want Amazon to take during an object lifetime, such as transitioning object to another storage class, archiving them, can you see, or deleting them after a period of time. So it's a life cycle. You're setting up a life cycle that, okay, this file, maybe after 30 days, based on your agreement with stakeholder, you decide the life cycle of that you know environment entirely. So now let's go on. So I've shown you S3 bucket, I've shown you how to upload file, which is good. Any question again? Okay, let's continue. So let's go to this. I've shown you how to upload file, and then this. I will explain this service a bit. I will explain how it works. I will just explain. We're not going to be writing code, but if time permits, so I'm not sure we're going to be covering the code base, but we have a video on YouTube which I will share with you. Then you can watch more. You can check more information about Glue, how to use Glue. Now, for Glue, let's click on Glue. Okay. So, like someone said the other time, that do you deploy all this? All these things you see here, we deploy them. So they were all deployed. Can you see CDK? You saw in the job something I showed you, we have CDK. So for the advanced one, we cover all this. So you see how we're creating bucket. We didn't create all this one manually, but we created them using CI/CD, deploying from the ID environment, getting everything in our repository, understanding some other details. So yeah, so that's that. Let me go to Glue Job. So for Glue Job, should I explain? Yeah, let me explain Glue Job. But before I explain Glue Job, okay, let me explain Glue Job. So for Glue Job is an ETL tool, just like the an application that helps you to transform data. Just like we use a Google Colab, right? But this is a serverless application. So you can do transformation of data here in this environment. And I would also like to explain some other rules that you need to follow, or policy rather, to understand how Glue Job works. So for Glue Job, like I said, is an ETL tool. Let me check if we have YouTube. One second. SOM data class. So we have SOM data class. So if you check one of the videos here, we explain glue there. Let me check if we have the glue here. One second, so. Please remember, we can't cover everything in SOM data class. We can only try to make sure that we don't overload you. We just try to, as much as possible, cover the key parts. In fact, we've covered a lot, which is even enough for you to start developing on and take advantage of. Let me see if I have it here. Let me see. Oh, 1 second. Let me see if I have the video here. I'm not sure if it is the video. So please go through this video for Spark. Cover a lot for Spark here. Cover a lot for Spark. That's two. 1 second. Okay. So 1 second. Spark 2. Okay, let me check this. Let me check this. And this. So we've covered a lot. Please go to those videos, and I'm very sure you'll be okay. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the videos there will be very, very helpful. I think we didn't cover glue there, but we checked some videos. I think we've recorded some in the past where we covered glue. Maybe we've not uploaded it, but I'll get it and upload it to this environment so that you can see the material. So now let's go back to AWS Glue. So AWS Glue is an ETL tool for data transformation. The two major tools, I won't say the two major tools, I would say three major tools being used for ETL process, just like we are transforming data in Google Colabs, are one, please take note of this, AWS Lambda, like I said the other time, EMR, and Glue. See, these are the major tools or application for data transformation in AWS environments. Here, you can use Python with pandas / data wrangler. Data wrangler is like a module, just like Panda. So it does the same work as Panda, but it's more effective than pandas. If you are familiar with pandas, you understand what I'm saying. For EMR, you can deal with pandas. You can deal with PySpark. That's Python with Spark. PySpark, which we covered in that video. So, and that's Python, pandas, and PySpark, Glue, Python, pandas, Python pandas, with PySpark, same. So wherever we have covered, you can deal with them here. So for this Glue also, we have something called Glue Data Catalog, which I will show you, Glue Data Catalog, which you can do Athena query. Athena query with SQL. So you can do all this with this. So Athena query with SQL, you can do this. These are the major EMR, ETL tools that we have in AWS environment. Not that we don't have some other tools, but these are the most popular tools that we have. So now let's start with the AWS Glue. For AWS Glue, we have, if you go back here, a Glue is a serverless service used to extract, transform, and load data. Remember why I was covering, sorry, 1 second. Now, we have extraction, transformation, and loading data. If you remember the Google Colab, all we did there was extraction, transformation, and loading data, right? If you see Google Colab, if I go back to Google Colab, okay, so it's a different account entirely. If you see here, we did, let me see where we did data structure. You remember the assignment I gave you? Assignment class, if you remember this video, the assignment class, Python assignments. If you look at this video, is an example of a typical ETL. where we're reading the data, read data, right? Which is the ETL. Remember, I said extraction. We are reading the data, we're extracting data, and we did data transformation here, right? And we load the data, and I will show you here so that you understand. Extraction, where is it? We are reading the data here, right? And 1 second, if you go on. Oh, okay, no. Let me see where we try to load the data. Oh. So we did ETL process here. We read the data, we transform the data. I remember we dropped some columns here in the data. That is an example of ETL. We're extracting the data by doing pandas.read, that's PD, panda import pandas as PD, pd.read CSV, and we pass in that folder path. In this case, we are going to pass in S3 bucket if you are using cloud. That's the S3 buckets path that I copied the other time that I showed you. You should remember what I copied one S3 link. So you pass it and you read the data, you do this data transformation, and you will load it to an environment. And I remember at a point I showed you where I saved a file under here, right? I saved it under here and I showed you I downloaded the file then. So that's the process for ETL. Any question? Before I continue. Okay. So now, Glue is a serverless service used to extract, to transform, and to load data, just like what we did in Google Colab. So under Glue, we have components. One of them is crawler. A crawler is used to crawl data from different sources. It could be you're crawling data from relational database, PostgreSQL, SQL, database sitting somewhere either on premise connected to cloud. You could also crawl data from S3 environments. You could actually crawl data from Redshift environments, some of them Snowflakes, and the rest.
What do you mean by crawl? Do you mean like collect
I will show you.
or collect data from different sources? Is that what you mean?
Yes, crawls. Yeah, you crawl data. Crawler crawls. Can you, based on the name crawler crawls, so it collects data. It will pull the data from any
different sources. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So I will show you that
Okay.
along the way. So someone said I should add a, I can't see him. You should try again. Now, so that's crawler. So you can use the crawl data from S3, from database, and the rest. So now, classifier. Classifier converts data from different formats to another, e.g. packet file to CSV file, XML file, different types of file, JSON file to maybe packet file or JSON file to CSV, or different types of formats of data. Classifier will help you to manage that and do the transformation within. So instead of you writing code to do the transformation, classifier will help you to identify that and transform it based on the instruction you give. It won't do it automatically. It can do it by default, but you have to specify, oh, this is what I want as the output results. We have databases. This is the database created for crawl data from different sources. Tables, you are all familiar with databases. You are familiar with tables. This is the table created from raw data. So whenever you crawl a data, a table will be created. So the table will be tagged with the name of the folder where that file is sitting. Like for example, our file, constant buckets, the file is a file that is sitting under constant bucket. The name that we have there is constant bucket. So by the time we use the crawler to crawl data, constant bucket will be the table name. That's how it works with glue, with the crawler. So we have glue job. Glue job is the major part that does the ETL task that I was explaining: extraction, transformation, and loading. So this particular glue job, you know, the way we're using Google Colab, you can use glue job that way. Put your lambda your Python script there, read the data, maybe data that is sitting in the table in a database, in glue database, or the one that is stored in S3 bucket, or the one that is stored in Redshift, or the one that is stored in a database, RDS database. You know, you can do whatever within glue using glue job. It's a very powerful tool. And one advantage of glue job is that it helps you to handle very large amount of data sets. You can do SQL. You can work with Python SQL. You can use PySpark in glue job. You can use Python pandas in glue job. Any question?
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah. Do I have to write the script again?
For which one, sorry?
If I'm using glue, AWS glue, do I have to code? Do I still need to code? Write the coding script?
Yes, you have to. You have to write the coding scripts. So, you know, what we are doing is just to introduce you to the environment. But in the case of using glue, you have to write the coding script. But the coding script is similar to what we have covered.
Is it not automatically generated?
Oh, you can automatically generate it just for the purpose of learning. But when it comes to real life environment, you have to write it. Like,
okay.
Like if you are working on a project and you're given a task, you have to write it from scratch and, you know, write the code and, you know, do whatever you want to do with the environment. But just for practice purpose, which I will show you, just like, oh, can you do this? You will see it in a minute. So we have another thing called glue data catalog. Glue data. This one, I would like to explain, but it's not that important. So glue data catalog is where all your metadata is the metadata stuff for your data set. This is where you have your database, where you have your tables created. All the data you've crawled from different sources, they are all stored under glue data catalog and under the database you have created. So, but we explain, you will see the process. So crawler crawls and the fast schema of our data and add it to a glue data catalog. So let's see, before we continue so that it won't get boring, let's make it more practical now. Okay. So glue. You remember I was talking about glue data catalog. This is glue data catalog. Can you see? Database, tables, schema, crawler. Can you see the crawler? Classifier. I explained classifier. We have some other tools. Notebook. This notebook is connected to dev that I showed you, the development endpoints. So if you see, let me see if we have development endpoints here. Oh, they've changed it. Dev endpoints. Can you see? It said legacy. Legacy pages. That means they have all these are outdated, right? Do you get that? Before it was the added dev endpoint, which you used to connect to like your notebook. If you have used Jupyter Notebook before, it's similar to that. So dev endpoint helps you to access your notebook. And if you want to do some other things in Glue Job, you can use your notebook also, just like Jupyter Notebook. You can work with that. Can you see? Notebook. You can create a notebook. The environment looks like your Google Colab, but I will not be doing that so that it won't incur charge. I don't want to incur any charges. So now let's close that and let's create our Glue Job. Before we do that, let me show you what I showed. Then there's another thing I need to mention, triggers. This trigger is very, very important in terms of automating the process. You want to set a schedule that, okay, this Glue Job, you want it to run maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, early morning. Maybe you normally receive data before that time. So you want it to run 5 o'clock in the morning, you can set the trigger, right? Trigger, set the trigger, schedule the trigger, set the time, and you add it to your job, and it will run automatically at that particular time. So that's what trigger does. So now let's start with the ETL to ETL jobs, the Glue Job itself. Or no, don't let us start with this Glue Job. Let's start with our crawler. Remember I mentioned crawler first, right? Oh, this has been consuming my money. Oh dear, I see. Okay, so I created this crawler like 2024. I discovered I've always been charged by Amazon. Oh, I didn't know. Okay, brilliant. So now I'm going to start with crawler. So we're going to create a new crawler. Before we create a new crawler, let me duplicate this tab. I'll go to our S3 bucket again. Custom. Let's see, custom buckets. Under this bucket, I will create a folder. I will call it SOM folder. SOM folder. I'll create it. So I've created this. So I want to move this data into this SOM folder. I can click on this, move. Now, where do you want to move it? Click on this, move to this, choose. Now I've moved that. And if I check that, the data has been moved to this SOM folder. So I've done that. Then I want to use this crawler. The reason why I did that first was because I will need it for this crawler. So I want to make sure I get that environment ready. You remember I said whenever you use a crawler and you crawl data from S3 bucket, it will use the name of the folder path as the name of the table. Did you remember? I mentioned that. Okay. Now let's see the results. This is our crawler, create crawler, custom crawler. Okay, data source, add the source. I'm going to have source. What's my source? S3 bucket. You see, you can have different sources: JDBC, DynamoDB, data lakes, MySQL, which is RDS, relational database, Oracle database, PostgreSQL, Redshift, Iceberg, UD. You can load data from different sources using crawler. JDBC has something to do with snowflakes and Redshift. So you can pull data from that environment using that. DynamoDB, DocumentDB, and MongoDB, and the rest. So let's choose S3 bucket in our case. And S3 for the part, let's browse. So we have constant. So we're picking from constant, right? So it's saying all folder and file contained in S3 bucket are crawl. For example, this. So if I do this, my folder, okay. So let's say I want to crawl data from custom buckets and this. So it's going to show me that. add. Oops. Previous. Select. Next. Now we need identity access management role. Identity access management role. Identity access management role. If you are a user of this service, you need to set up something called identity access management. Identity access management. So it's a role given to the users. For example, if you're a developer, you'll be given identity access management role. And the idea about identity management management role is when you are given this, this IAM role helps this crawler to interact with whoever plays the crawler is going to crawl the data from. So we have to set that. In this case, we have something called, I've set few ones here, but I will set it in a new one entirely. So I can click on glue row. I will not do that. Instead, I will create a new row, create a new IAM row. Okay. So I don't want to do that directly. I want to create it separately. Let's go to IAM. Remember, I talked about IAM the other time, that you need to know IAM. So let's click on IAM, the row. So I want to create a new row. What is the row? AWS glue. Let me see if we have glue there. AWS glue. Okay. See if we have glue. Can you see? So allow glue to crawl all surveillance and all services on your behalf. Now let's click on next. Now there's something called power user access. Power user access is mostly access you grant to AWS glue. Power user access. And let me call the name constant row glue job to S3. So the purpose of this is for us to, grab data from S3 bucket, right? So let's add more permission because we need access to S3 buckets. So we need access, Amazon S3 full access. But mostly sometimes you don't give full access, but for the sake of this training, I'm going to add full access. So we have added two policies, which are Amazon S3 full access, power user access. And we've named our row as constant row glue job. So let's create the row. So I've created the row now. View row. So this is the row. And we have this. So now let's go to our glue. Let's refresh this. When we refresh this, you will see it will pop up. We will see constant. Can you see constant row glue job? So we can pick this one as part as our row, and we can click on next. So with this, we can now be able to crawl data successfully and get wherever you have from different sources. You can do that. So now we need a database for that. So we can add database. Let's click on database, constant database. I'll call it constant database. And let's create database. We've created a database now. Let's go back here. Let's refresh here. The database will pop up. Can you see? Constant database. Now, our crawler, how do we want it to work? Do you want it to run daily? On demand means you can do it manually. Do you want it to run hourly or daily, weekly? So your crawler will keep going to the S3 bucket and be crawling data depending on what you want. If you click on hourly, every hour, it will go and crawl data. Can you see? If you want to make it 30 minutes, maybe every 5 minutes, every 2 minutes, you can say 2 minutes, right? It will go there and be collecting crawling data from that S3 buckets. So let's put on demand. On demand is that we can run it by ourselves. And let's go on. And let's click on create crawler. So we have created our crawler now. Remember, we've added our IAM row and we can run the crawler. So let's click on crawler here. Can you see our crawler is ready? If we click on this and run our crawler now, let's run our crawler and let's see the result. Remember, we have mapped this crawler to that S3 bucket and we can see it here. Where is it again? Let's see data source. Can you see? This is the data source. We crawl all. S3, we've set that one. So we want to run our crawler. We did not add classifier because we don't need classifier in this case. And we also set some rules. We've added identity access management rule. And let's run our crawler. Let's go to crawler and run our crawler. Run. And let's see the results. Remember, all these, you are not going to be running it manually. You will not be running it manually. So you'll be running this manual. You will not be running this manually. Remember, you're going to be pushing it from, from CLI environment, which is advanced, like I said. But you still need to understand, for you to do all those ones, you need to understand how it works. This is the major part you need to know. When you know this, you can now start developing on how to push from CLI and, and the rest. So this is the most important part. Let's refresh our crawler. Let's see. So it's running. Any question? Now you say one created, right? Let's see. Now it has pulled the data. So it must have created a table now. Can you see? A crawler is stopping. It says it's stopping. One table created. Can you see? Now let's check our table. Remember our database, constant database, table. What's our table? Let me refresh this. Can you see? What did you see? SOM folder. Constant database, and this is the S3 location. Can you see it's using that folder path to create a table? So this is a table now. And this table, we can query it. Like I said the other time, glue data catalog. Remember the glue data catalog dimension where tables are stored? This is one of them. If you see, this table is under glue data catalog table that explained here. Glue data catalog. I say glue data catalog is the metadata stuff for our data set so that we can query with Athena. Crawler cross an infer schema and add it to what? Glue data catalog. What happened? The crawler crossed the data and infer schema and added it to what? Glue data catalog as a table. So this one we can query it, and let's see. Let's see how we can query our table. Let's see. We should be able to query the table. Let's click on this and let's query this table. Let's do table data. You will be taken to Athena to preview data and you'll be charged separately for Athena query. So I wouldn't mind if they charge me. I just wanted to pick something here. Can you see? It's going to take us to Athena now. Can you see Athena area? Does it look like, does the query look like SQL? Does the query look like SQL? I didn't get any answer.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Yes, please. Yes, it does.
It is not different from the SQL query you know. So that's why I said that what you have covered in SQL is applicable in AWS environment. So you gain a lot, but you don't know. You understand? So I congratulate everyone here that that you persevere to attend to this class. Some they've gone, I guess they might be busy. I can't blame them, but you still took your time to join the class. So we've covered a lot. So let's do this one. Let's run this. Or if you don't want to run it this way, we can go here and check the table. And let me click on these three dots and do preview table. And it will generate that for you. And you can run this table, say select all from constant database dots. This is the table, and we run this and we get our results. And we can download this file. You can download this file. You can do further transformation here. You can see, say, select all from constant database, where let's filter by maybe where LA code, right? LA code, LA underscore code is equal to where NA underscore code is equal to this. And let's run this together. Oops. So you say cannot resolve that. So there is a mistake somewhere. Maybe from how I query that, but let me do only this. Let's see the result again. So we LA underscore code is equal to E01. Okay. I think the problem
It's 5.
is this one. Sorry?
The end is 5.
Okay, let me use 5. Let me see. Yeah, let's see the results. Perfect. This is running. Can you see now? You can run query here. You can even do multiplication. You understand? You can do lots of things. I can decide to say, okay, let me do something here. Now let's say SQL query, we can say with add. Okay, let me say let's say cons1 as selects. Okay, let me pass this one here. Cons1 as selects. Okay. I can say cos1 as selects. Your cos1 as selects. What's the name? Young people, select young people, okay, underscore people from this where this is this, comma, and they say cons 2 as select. I can write code like it depends on what you want to do. As I can copy the same code, pass it here. I just want to show something. So let me change this one to 1 so that we can grab different data, and at the same time we can do
There's no 1. There's no data like that.
oh, there's no 1, right? I think we have.
Yeah.
Okay, let me run it.
Huh?
There is.
There is, okay.
Yeah, there is. So let's say we can now do select young people.
Quick
Young
question,
people.
sorry.
Yeah.
You could do SQL on AWS platform
Oh,
directly.
so I didn't get that. Sorry.
I said, could you do SQL on AWS platform directly?
Oh, that's what I'm doing now.
Okay, so you don't really need to download the.
No, yeah, you can do SQL. That's what I'm doing. That's why I said SQL is applicable. In the Athena environment, is SQL. You can create database, you can create table here. You can do all sorts of. I will show you how to create table here. So
So I was
select
gonna
all.
say, but you know that secret is like a Microsoft um is it not from Microsoft?
No, yeah, it looks like from Microsoft, but we have it in other environments. We have it in GCP, we have it in Microsoft, we have it in Amazon. In fact, in Amazon, we have, we have all the relational databases like RDS, but everything here also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so anything you need to do, anything SQL, Python, everything is here. You can do it here. So select this. I want to be sure if it's
Okay, thank you.
here. You're welcome. So let me do select young. I'm coming. Just want to add them together. Uh, okay, okay. So I can do select. Okay, select all. Select all. Select all. Yeah, I can do it differently, but from I just want to show you that a lot of things you can do it here. They are all possible here. Cons one, union, select all from cons two. You understand? And you can run it. So all this will work together. If we run this now, it will give us results. Can you see? So the union is giving us this result, the final result, right? We created two different queries. We joined them together, union. Does that make sense? Okay. So we can also do select all minus. Let me see if it's gonna work. It's not gonna work because of this is a string. Oh, now let's take that one off. We need to convert that, but we need to specify. So you see how it works? You can do a lot of things that. Let's see how we can create a a table here. Okay, so let me check an example. Create table in Athena, then we'll edit it. So let's say create table in Athena. Let's see an example here. So we have this table. No, I won't go for that. So we want to create table now in Athena. Brilliant. This is what I'm looking for. In package CSV. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's use this. Let me use this one. This should work. If it doesn't work, which there is possibility, so you can open another query tab. Let's put this one. Create external table. I'll call the external table. Remember the database. We mentioned the name of the database. Call constants database dots. Let me call it new table. And let's check the columns that we have here, right? Let's check our column properties. Oh, sorry. Let's check. Okay, let's generate DDL for this. This will be good. This is fantastic. So I can use this one now. Can you see? You see this, instead of creating this table, we can use this DDL to create it. So for example, this will help you to structure your something. So when you are creating a table and you are mapping it to data in S3 bucket, this is what you write in your code. We created this manually with query, but I generated a DDL that is needed to create this table now, and let's do it. So SCM folder, create database. So we are creating under this database. SUM, let me say new. I'll call it new table. So new table cons. So this new table cons, we already know the number of columns that we have in our data. We can decide to change it. You understand? We can change the character. We can say voucher if you want. You understand? And change it to voucher format. Voucher format. Voucher format. Big int because it's integer. Big int. Big int. Then the folder part is capturing data from here. So crawl ID DDD. We might not actually need this crawl. And the reason is, if we go back here, 1 second, I think I showed one the other time. If you look at this create table, store as test file here. So we say field terminated, format deleted, field terminated, store as test file location. So if you go here, we can just say location classification CSV. We don't actually, I don't think we need this. This one, I can comment it out. So let's see what we have. Let's see what we have. So let me run this one. Let's see if this table will be created. It said, expecting voucher in, okay, 155. So line 155. Okay, let's see. Voucher. Okay. See my error. Okay. Coming. Output format. Seconds. Location format delimited, row format delimited, row format delimited, store as. So if we go here, we have stored as test file. So let's keep it as test file. Store as, let's say test file. Location this feed terminated file. Row format delimited. If you go here, row format delimited. So it's not necessary we take this one. So you can play around things, but I want to see where the error is coming from. Let me run this again. Okay, it's still complaining about voucher. Okay, so what do you want me to add? String. Let me do string. Okay, let's try this. Can you see? It's against voucher that I had it. So string, let's pass in string. Let's pass in string. So this should be fine. Can you see? It's created that table, right? Can you see that? New table comes, right? And if we query that table, we can access data in this folder. Remember, we passed in this folder part. Let's query this now. Let's do preview. And let's run that. And we can see our table, the same data. Can you see? And why we have the structure like this is that we removed, remember when I was doing this, I removed few other configurations. Delimited by this and this. Let's see if we add this one to string as string. String, okay, and let's run it again. It said line 1 of 8, line 1 of 8, what happened? Oh, mismatch. He said there's a mismatch somewhere. I'm not sure. Okay. That's correct. String. Okay. 1 second. Let me just do 1 of 8. Okay. So there is a mismatch somewhere. Input expecting mother won't see. Okay. Take this off. Brilliant. It's done now. Can you see? Oh, it said already exists. Table already exists. Oh, because of the cons, right? Did you see that? Because we didn't change this one, let me put SS. So it will create now. Now, can you see? It has created that table. Because this one already exists. You know, we can say drop table if exists, right? Which you are familiar with, right? Okay, let's say for example now, I can do drop tables. Table, should be tables. If exists, what's the name of the table? New, let's say new table cons. Okay, so I want to drop this table while I create another one. Let's see. Okay, so oops, sorry. Okay, that makes sense. It's asking me to put a sign somewhere. 1 second. No, not that sign. So it's a separate. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, brilliant. Okay. Okay, let's run this. Oh, okay. Okay. If exists, drop table if exists. Let's put the name of the database. Const database dots. Let me run this. Oh. Okay. So it was this. I made a mistake. Can you see it's gone? That table is gone. So if I run this together, can you see? Only one SQL is allowed. So only one SQL is allowed. So let's run this one separately and we can create another table. Can you see? So you can do a lot of things in this environment. In fact, most of the data engineering ETL process, you use Athena nowadays. Mostly in AWS environments, you use Athena to create table, drop table, do joins, do all sorts of things. So that's how it works. Any question?
My question is, does it mean that even though we are learning SQL on a different platform in real work environment, we're going to use it on AWS?
You use it on AWS, you can use it on any environment entirely, anywhere. You can use SQL anywhere. SQL is applicable on Google, on AWS, on Azure environment. It doesn't matter the platform. The same thing Python, the same thing Spark.
Okay.
Yes, so you can use it in any environment, either on premises or cloud or whatever. So you're okay.
So it depends on which environment your workplace is using.
Exactly.
Can I ask another question? Somebody told me that somebody can work as self-employed as a data engineer. They don't need to work for a company. Does that mean the contracting jobs?
You're talking about contract job.
Is that what they mean by self-employed?
Yes.
Being a limited liability?
Yes.
And how? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So now I've shown you all those, and they are very, very important when it comes to, here what we have done is that you already know that data is sitting in S3 bucket and you are mapping a database, right, a table to that data, right? So that's what we just did. And this table, you can start reading this together now. We can combine this table together. Now that we have created that, we can select all from the two tables. Select all from, right, from new table cons, right? We can union them together, right? Where despite it's going to be, let's use union. This is going to be very interesting. And select all. Oh, sorry, I didn't put all in. Select all from new cons this. You see, What do you think will happen if I union these together? Can someone guess?
It will overlap, isn't it?
Hmm.
And only the ones that are similar will stay because they're the same tables.
They are
I
same
believe.
tables. And what's the difference between union and union hall?
Mm, mm. I've not learnt my union very well.
Okay.
Who knows the answer?
Anyone? Any suggestion?
I think union will just keep the similar data, and the union all will put everything duplicate. I'm guessing.
You're right. So union all will keep duplicates, while
Mhm.
union will drop duplicates.
Okay.
Yes, in case they ask you in an interview, what's the difference between union and union? Union all will keep all the duplicates, but when you use union, it helps you to drop duplicates.
Yeah. Thank you.
And okay, yes. So when you do that, you see, when we do
Mhm.
check this data, it's going to be 324 data columns. If we run it separately,
Mhm.
it will be 324. When we do it separately, 324, right? Look at it, 324, right?
Yeah. So
Now
let's do it union all.
exactly. So if we run it together as union, 324. Now let's put union hall. It will increase
Okay.
to it will increase to 648.
Okay.
Can you see?
Yeah. Brilliant.
So the difference between them, union hall keeps duplicates, while union drops duplicates.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's that. So we've covered Glue data catalog, how to use query. I've even extended it for that because you'll be doing this. This part is very, very important. And I show you in that job description,
Mm-hmm.
Athena and the rest. So it's very, very
Yeah.
important. If you get familiar with this, that will be very good. Then you can start
If-
doing some other advanced SQL query here and start doing, combining, creating maybe another table or view from
mhm.
an existing from existing tables. So
Okay.
yeah, so you can do that using that. So okay, so that's okay, so we've covered that. Let's go on. I think we've come to the end of the class, but let me
Okay.
just wrap up.
All right.
Let me wrap up. I won't cover deeply, but I think that some that are very, very important in industrial environments that I need to focus on. There are
Oh,
others. I will try and see if I could lay hands on some videos online on that we've recorded in the past, then upload it to S3 book to I say S3 book rather, sorry. A long day for me. Yeah, upload it to on YouTube. Yeah, so that you can watch after. Any question from anyone?
Good
uh,
afternoon, sir.
Sorry,
someone
Can
is
you hear
greeting
me,
you.
sir?
I didn't hear you.
I said good afternoon, sir. I have a question.
Okay.
Your valid opinion, please. Azure or AWS?
Oh my word, that is a very tricky question to answer. But if I want to answer it, I will say for a start, it depends on your interest. Like me, my interest has been AWS. That's my strength. Um, I won't say just lay hands on one.
Okay.
And if you want to start developing on others, that would be good. But to me, focus on one, then start learning bit by bit because they are not actually different from one another. Sorry, each other. If you are comparing based on Azure and AWS, they are not. It's just the name. Wherever you are doing the same thing, you do there. If you are using Spark, you do the Spark. If you are writing Python as a data engineer, you do it. It's just the environments.
It's different. Okay.
It's like when Onkunyika was teaching SSI, right? At the when you are running the SQL code,
Let's go. Yeah.
you see how this environment is. You are running the same SQL code there, so there's no difference. It's just a platform.
Okay.
So to me, just choose the one that you love so much. I've seen people that will say, "Oh, I'm used to Azure environment. AWS is so difficult to manage." You see, and me, I'm used to AWS environment. How will I get used to Azure environment? Even despite I've used few other tools like Databricks. You understand? I was like, you know. So it depends. And I've seen people that say, Azure environment is the best. No, the Databrick AWS is so rigid. I was like, I don't think so. Me, because I'm used to AWS. But the major thing is that just go anyone that will put something on your table. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why I'm asking was because I already have like a pathway I'm following through on Azure.
Mhm.
And I was just like, just switching everything just like that to AWS again would be like starting all over again. So I just needed your opinion on that. And I think my mind is at rest with what you just explained to me.
Exactly. So if you focus on Azure environment, don't bother yourself. Focus on it. Just deal with it very well. Master the tools, the applications that we have there. Then you can start. Okay. Oh, I'm satisfied with. I want to now move to another cloud so that I
Learning all
can
that stuff.
spread
Yes.
my tentacles all around. Yeah. So to me, I love AWS environment very well. But maybe in the future I'll be thinking about exploring the Azure environment.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So to me, it's okay. Just use any environment. And the major thing is that, just to remind you, wherever you have covered, they are all applicable on any environment, as in any environment, either Azure, AWS, GCP. Just know that you know a lot, but I know because you've not started, you are not aware that you know. So
Yes. Yes.
exactly, so that's the reason. So I was in the
Okay.
same situation at a point. So it was like, how do I all this?
Okay.
It's
So,
always dark. It's
Hello.
finally
so
it's always dark before you see the light. Just enter the darkness.
okay. So I have a question, please.
Yes,
A couple of questions actually. Databricks, is it AWS or what? What does it link in?
it's Azure environment.
Okay, Databricks. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it very common? Is it a very common platform like jobs around?
Oh, of course. For anything Microsoft is common. For AWS is common. And there's some
Okay.
other
Hello,
ones
sir.
that are not common like that, but they are
Sorry,
very
I'm still
important.
asking. Sorry. So I will allow you to ask. Okay. And last question is it possible if somebody is not earning any income and trying to transition into data engineering, is it possible to advise us on fully funded government boot camp that can give a structure? Because not everybody can afford maybe to pay.
Mm,
Yeah. Do you know if it's this possible, like if someone is a British citizen but really want to go into data? Because I know that the government has brought up money for investment in technology. I don't know if you know anyone that you can recommend